hostess, and this is my amazing co-host, Chatone Morrison. Welcome, Chatone.
Hey everybody, how are you? Hi Morgan, how are you, girl?
Girl, you know all good. You know all good.
Feeling happier today?
Oh, honey, you have no idea. Like there is such a relief knowing that this was over. Like I woke up and the birds were singing today. It wasn't as like heavy as it's been this last month,
Yeah.
you know. So now that we have that section taken care of, we can move on, right?
Yes. Yeah. Everybody, this podcast, Getting to After, as we've mentioned, we've been doing this series specifically called Overcoming Silence, Resilience and Rediscovery After Domestic Violence. And it was tough. It was a rough one for us. I've been letting you know that if you're in a delicate situation, you may not want to listen to this without headphones. You definitely want to bookmark this. You want to come back to this. And please do like, subscribe, and share. Specifically, want you to share because there may be someone that you love, someone that you know that needs this. In the course of this month, we've found by accident so many women that are like, oh my goodness, this is exactly what I need. My sister needs this. My neighbor needs this. And now
Yeah.
you know you have a resource.
Well, and that's so true because so many people, we may not think that there's an issue because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but it can really, really help them without us even realizing it. So just share it. Just share it, please.
Yeah, please do. So, Morgan, I got to ask you because I know people are going to ask, especially after seeing episode 4, which, of course, we're releasing a few episodes this week. At this last part of this particular series, there will be more on DV, but of course, Getting to After is in broadly a broad sense for mamas in midlife. It's for women going through midlife issues. We're not going to call them a crisis, right? Because we're going to help you to release from negative energy or energy that no longer serves you. And that's what you were doing this week, right, Morgan? I mean, why don't you just talk a little bit about what this meant to you to be able to talk about this?
It was freeing. It was so cathartic to be able to actually speak on this and to be able to just release it.
Yeah.
Honestly. And then with doing that too, like I noticed that because I've done so much work on myself using the EFT, the tapping, um, there's this one part of the tapping. What is it called? Storytelling or movie?
Like having a movie.
Having a movie. So basically, what it teaches you is for you to be able to disconnect from the story,
Yeah.
so it's not so emotionally heavy on you. And that's what I was able to do
I
during
saw it. I was like, okay, wow.
right,
I
right.
was not disconnecting as much as you were. I was like, trying to keep myself together. Yes.
Yeah, so it teaches you to be able to talk about the incident without it having the same weight on you and emotional heaviness, the
Yes.
weight.
Same
So
emotional pull. Yeah.
pull, there you go, the same emotional pull. So I was really grateful to be able to speak on everything and yet not completely break down emotionally in front of you guys. So that was that was a bonus. Um, yeah, man, just I really hope that this is able to help somebody out there to be able to give them, you know, the opportunity to have a to do better for themselves and for their family if they can, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because, we've just touched a little bit on EFT and what we're doing. And one of the things that we're launching in November are emotional freedom technique circles. And we're going to talk more about that. You're going to see it on our site, which will be launching in a few days. So I'm pretty excited about that, about how you can start getting to understand what emotional freedom technique is. That, of course, it's not just for, survivors of domestic violence or people attached to domestic violence. It's not even just for midlife women. We've taught our children. I've taught my nephew. I mean, my daughter, who, she's Gen Z, she's like, oh, mom, that's weird. But every once in a while, I
You
see her,
catch
you know what I
them,
mean?
right?
Like, come on, you know that thing works. And so, but there is a collective sigh. We know it's not over. I mean, Morgan and I mean, right now, Morgan, I know you're coming up on an anniversary date. Can you just talk? We're gonna have a little segment here to kind of just work through a couple extra things that we didn't include in the first 4+ episodes. And I just really want to cover them off because I think they're so important. Also, before I ask these questions, I just want, in case you don't get through the whole podcast, please do make sure that, again, that you share this, but then also make sure that you get our magazine, because that e-zine is specifically, we launched it It's for midlife mamas, but we specifically launched this issue to concentrate on victims and survivors of domestic violence. And so you can go to bit.ly/, I have to write it down, all capital letters, G, the number two, MAG dash launch, all uppercase, bit.ly/G2A MAG dash launch, so that you can get an opportunity to look at, some insightful tips, tricks, evaluate your relationship if you're not sure, or help your daughter to evaluate hers, or your sister to evaluate hers. And then also we do have a workbook that Morgan, I'm telling you, she's the brains behind the operation, okay? And she's like this, Chatone, and then I deliver, okay? I deliver, right? I'm a
That you do.
deliver.
That you do.
And so we have this free work. Isn't it amazing? We're so happy today, right?
Oh
And we
my
can
goodness.
talk about happier things. I know.
It's such a relief to be done with that. Is that wrong to say?
Yeah.
To be
No, it's not wrong to say at all. You worked very hard. And you're not done. You're done telling your story for now. As of
well,
course, Overcoming Silence is a series. There will be more that we will add to the domestic violence series, because this is not over for us. We're still doing a lot of work with women in shelters. We're still doing a lot of work with public speaking. Morgan's going to be doing so many speaking engagements. And we're also creating some resources specific for women who are on their way transitioning out of domestic violence. So it's not over. It's just that hard part's over.
beginning the
Yeah,
beginning of
it's
that.
the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, question for you.
Okay.
Um, Obviously, I know that you're very adept at, emotional freedom technique, and you've done other modalities as well, other healing modalities. And some of the things that we're going to be doing, we work with essential oils, we work with, um, certain journal work. I'm really big on journal work, affirmation work, lots of things that you can do with us, but also things that you can learn to do on your own.
Yeah.
Well, Morgan, I noticed that you seemed very like able to detach. Like, how are you able to be so calm, especially in episode 4? When if you guys missed episode 4, don't. How are you able to remain so calm?
So that was through all the training that I've done with the EFT and all the work that I've done with that. Because like I mentioned just a couple minutes ago with the different um, just the different skill sets that we learned with that. So what it does is it teaches you to be able to not completely disconnect, but to distance yourself. So it's as if I'm just reading a book or and telling the
Wow.
story, and that it's not affecting me in that moment in time as if it would previously. So it
Right.
gives you like that buffer. It teaches you how to have a buffer in between you and your truth.
And yet, I mean, I love that because it's true. And yet, even still,
Mm.
still tough. It's still tough
Oh,
for both of
yeah.
you.
Like I couldn't, I'm sorry. Like I was trying to hold back the tears, but I couldn't, man. Like it was too much. It was really honestly too much. And it's okay. It's okay actually, to be able to release all of that, to be able to have those tears, to be able to cry it out, because that's how your body's healing itself too, is by releasing all of that energy that's attached to the emotion. So,
So let me ask you something, because you were talking with us in one of the episodes about hunger and about how that affected staying. All right. So we just for a second, I want to just hit on that. Do you think that a woman is, or let me say it this way, how do you feel, yes, you think and feel that a woman is predisposed, or is she, to being in a domestic violence relationship? What is your thought on that?
ooh, that's a good question because there's so many different answers to that. Um, but yeah, definitely, you can definitely be predisposed to that because of your upbringing and your life experiences, your childhood traumas that you experienced. Just one of mine was hunger. We'll get into the rest of that stuff later, but that definitely made me be drawn to somebody that was financially stable.
Right.
So then thinking that I was gonna have to take my children away from it, it wasn't even me, it was like my children are gonna be hungry, like, my children aren't gonna have, you know, possibly have to have the lights off or something like that, that kind of thing, like I grew up with the electricity being turned off and the lights and the gas and all that jazz.
Okay.
So being able to know that that at least was consistent was a huge weight off my shoulder despite what I was having to go up against, what I was having to battle every day kind of thing. So yeah,
God,
definitely what we grow up
yeah,
with, it
makes a
primes us.
difference.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things, I mean, I figured that was the answer. I'm not in an abusive relationship, but I watched my mom come from a very difficult background. Married
Mhm.
my dad, who was not an abusive man, but he was a tough guy. He was tough. Not tough, mean he was a difficult nut to crack. And I adore my dad, but he was a child of an alcoholic, a
Mm.
working, functioning, m- Monday through Friday sober, Friday to Sunday drunk. And that had a huge impact on who my father was.
Yeah.
And then my mom also was a child of an alcoholic and then an absent father. So that created who she was. So what was she attracted to? Like you cannot escape your genetics. And people
Mm.
think you can, but ways that you can, one of the ways is by knowing what it is, by speaking the truth and deciding to disconnect from it, cutting the cord from it so that you can get the help that you need. And I think that predisposition is something that I think for those of our listeners who have been attached to difficult relationships really really need to think about for not just their daughters. We always think about our girls. I often talk about the girls. I can see your face already, but also for the boys. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely, because that's one of the biggest things is because he was my husband, that that's their father, that's their example of what it is to be a man. So my big thing is teaching my sons how to be healthy, functional individuals, and then also to on the flip side to make sure that the person that they're interested in has, look for those traits. Are they able to maintain themselves? How do they act when you guys get in a disagreement kind of thing? Those are really important things to teach our sons too, not just our daughters to look
Yeah.
for.
And I think that I mean we both have, well, you have more than one son. I have one. And since he was little, and maybe I'm different, but since he was little, I'm talking 5, 6 years old, I started teaching my son the kind of woman I would want him to look for.
Mm,
He was little because I never knew, how do I know if I'm going to be there when he's ready to date and find a mate? How do I know? How do
yeah.
I know if I'm going to be here? And that's how I thought when he was in kindergarten. And so I started building for him the template of, not the simple things like she's got to be black. Because I know moms are like, she's got to be black or she's got to be this color, that. No, 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 no. This is the person. She's
Mm,
spiritual. She's
yeah.
respectful. She loves her mama and her dad. She takes care of other people. She doesn't mind hard work. She doesn't mind respecting the marital relationship. Like it was so important to me that he understood what kind of woman I wanted him to find. And yes, if possible, not someone who's from an abusive household. Not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be more difficult for him to even wrap his head around it. So from a young age, I was like, this is the template. And it was funny until he was, he doesn't talk about it now because he's over 18. But he would always say, mommy said I can't bring a girl home till this time. And mommy said, it was in there. Now I know good and well it's not gonna fly now as much, but it's in there. So it's not
Mm,
just our girls.
yeah, absolutely. Well, and another thing that I make sure and teach my kids is that how do they receive and accept counsel? Like when you're with them and you're around their parents and around,
Ooh,
like how do they accept counsel? Are they argumentative? Are they combative? Are they like, "Psh, that's not my problem, kind of thing, or that's what's wrong with you?" Because that's how they're going to respond to you. So are they humble enough to say, "Oh, wow. Okay, thank you for bringing that to my
yeah,
attention. I'll
yeah,
make sure I work on this."
right,
Or what's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with me. What kind of, feeling or the feedback are you getting from them?
yeah.
Mhm.
So these are all these things, I mean, and I think that, teaching different modalities to our children, not being afraid, even if you're in a situation that's very tricky where kids have a way of coming back on you and saying, "Why are you telling me something? Because look what you're in the middle of."
Mhm.
Children tell the truth.
Mhm.
And sometimes we take that as combative, but really they're just telling you the truth. And I think that whenever, and you can tell me if you agree with this, When someone gives you any kind of feedback from a little child to an old man, if they, and this is something that I always say, if they give you feedback and you feel it, there's some truth in it.
There's truth to it, right? Yes, there's some kinda honesty and something you need to work on, because otherwise it wouldn't hurt, it wouldn't sting.
And sometimes you have to work on it, sometimes you may choose not to, but there's some truth in it. There's a sting in there because there's something. If someone comes up to me and says, I can't stand the fact that you, I've said this so many times, it's crazy. You have three eyes. That third eye is so ugly. I can't believe that you've got four arms. Like, sir, you're going to need some medication for that. Like, I know that that's not going to reflect anything on me, but if someone talks about something that's real,
Mm,
even a child, and our children see what's going on, instead of reprimanding them for them telling you the truth sometimes and it hurting, don't
well,
fight, because then you shut them down from being able to tell the truth. And sometimes, every time, as mothers, especially at this age that we're in, we need them to tell us the truth, because if it's not us, they're going to tell
talk to
everybody
us.
else and we have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, like, be so grateful that your child's talking to you and wanting to interact with you. When you were saying that the children watch us, and can give us that feedback, it can also be in a good way too. So it
Yes.
can be in the sense of my youngest, she came to me and she goes, "So, you know how I always give you a hard time about this tapping thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" She goes, "So I kind of did it the other night and it really helped. So thank you." And I was like, "Yes, right?" And I asked her, I said, "So what made you decide to do it?" She goes, "Because you're doing it so much and I see a difference in you."
Wow.
So
That's it. Our work
boom,
is done.
boom. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So being able to
Yeah.
see that our children are being able to um like being acknowledged, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so like we are doing things that are working, like
Yeah.
seeing that they are seeing a difference in us. Like I
Yes.
feel the difference. I know I'm doing better, you know what I mean? But then for my children to comment on it, that's huge to me.
Yeah. Morgan, what is the best thing that you've experienced in the last 3 years?
Ooh, that's wow. Okay, well, this is good. How about I just speak about what's the most recent thing? Can I do that?
You
Let me
can answer the question however you want. Stop wasting time.
so I think like the newest thing would be I was with my son, right? And we were at Lowe's and we were walking down the aisle and all the aisles are this way. And my son's over here, I'm right here. And he was telling me how he was gaming with his friends the other night, and all of them were talking about what their parents do for a living. And he's like, "Oh yeah, like my mom owns like 5 different companies, but like the newest one she's doing right now is."
Did y'all peep what she said? You see how she tried to drop her brilliance in their 5 companies? I'm not gonna let that go. Okay, that's my co-host. Don't try and steal her. Go ahead.
So he's like, "My mom has 5 different." You're so cute. 5 different companies, but her newest thing, is being able to tell her story and to be able to empower other women to realize that they can walk away from a dangerous situation. So as we're walking, I'm, like, looking at him, like, side eye. I'm just like, "Wow," like, to hear my child talk about me like
Yeah.
that is
Ooh,
girl, that touched my soul on a whole nother level. But wait, there's more. So then
yes.
we're walking and he says to me, he goes, yeah, he does this thing. He's like, yeah, so I'm not gonna lie. I had like a little bit of faith in you that you were gonna follow through with this, but kind of doubted you at the same time, mom. He said started off at like 45%, and then he's like got me up to like 65% of faith in me that I was gonna follow through with it. And then he goes, yeah, it was like a solid 65. He goes, and then I see you and Auntie like making this thing happen. He's like, you're constantly recording, you're constantly working. He goes, "You've always worked," but he says, "It's a different feeling that I'm getting from you." And so then he tells me hmm, I'm sorry. So then he tells me, he's like, "Mom," he's like, he turns because I'm over here. He turns and he grabs me by my shoulders and he's like looking at me, right? And
He's
he
so
goes,
big and
I know
cute.
he's like towering over me. I'm like a little doll. And he's like,
Oh,
"I just want to tell you like how proud I am of you." He goes, "You're doing a really great thing." He goes, "And like we see it. Like I'm really, really proud of you, mom." He goes, "Because I know how scary this is." And I'm just proud of you. And he said it like 3 different times, 4 different times. And I'm like sitting there and I'm crying and he's like, "Oh, don't cry." So then he's like taking his little fingers and like wiping away my tears and he's like, "We're in the store, mom." You know? So that is huge to me because it's not a child's job to tell their parents that they're
That's
proud
right.
of. It's our job to encourage and uplift them and upbuild them. So to hear that from my son, especially, meant so much.
Yeah.
So that was a
Yeah.
huge thing
Oh,
because baby, then that shows that he sees me improving. He sees me being a better
yes.
mommy,
Yeah.
you know? So,
But you know what? Those of us who know your children see the children improving too.
mm,
I mean, you're all about to come up on some amazing, well, you're coming up on really difficult trigger dates.
yeah.
In a
Mhm.
couple months, the anniversary of their dad's suicide. I mean, the anniversary of this terrible crime
Mhm.
and the beginning of you restarting another life for the like umpteenth time, but this one sticking. That's a
Yeah.
lot for kids. That's a lot for teenagers. And they're pretty dope. Your
They're
kids.
awesome. They're
They're
awesome.
pretty dope. I'm just so blessed that I get to have them love me and call me auntie. Like I'm thrilled that I get to have, it's beautiful. So it isn't our kids' job, but
Mhm.
any mom or dad out there, you know good and well that if your child tells you that for real, especially not a little kid, but like a teenager tells you they're proud of you, I
Best
think
feeling in the
that's
world. Best feeling ever.
so powerful. Morgan, obviously, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say because like Chatone, these kids could be like horrific children. Like they have every right to be out there like if they wanted to be on the streets, running amok, just
Yeah,
being just horrible, horrible children, but they're not.
they're not. They're not.
They are so
Mhm.
respectful and like
Yeah,
honest and hardworking
yeah.
and just so they do so much for the community themselves, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Without me even asking them to. They have the biggest hearts. They're
No,
so
they're
lovely,
beautiful kids,
you know?
but
So
that's because of you. And listen, we struggle so much. If you're a domestic violence survivor, you're going to struggle. It's not going to be over because it's over. The whole goal of getting to after, it's not as if DV was an afterthought. It was the reason why we got started a year ago with supporting women in shelters with these essential empowerment self-care kits. That was our goal, just to get a box into the hands of a woman and to get sponsors who wanted to help support that.
yeah.
50 to $100 because we know we can do so much. We then realized
Yeah.
that it's not just that. There's so many women who are not in a shelter. There's so many women who are, all of us who are in midlife, and we've got all this stuff whirring around.
Mhm.
And we need ways to disconnect from the negativity to get rid of the energy. Anyone who knows me knows I've been the princess of positivity for about 10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Release your negativity, your positive in your brain, your business, your big, beautiful life. Yeah. I didn't always tell you how.
Mm,
And it's not magical. It is methodical. It's not magical. It's all of the different modalities that I've done. It is constant work. And what is the point? Why now? Because you deserve to be in some level of joy because we
mhm,
cannot control this system around us. We can't
mm,
control it. We can barely control ourselves. But what we can do is we can be realistic. We can do our best to raise our families. For me, I'm married. I can do the best I can to be a supportive wife for my man of color who is dealing with whatever he's dealing with on a daily basis. Like this is so much bigger, and I hate to say it, than just don't castigate me. Domestic violence.
mm,
Getting to after is really about supporting and empowering women to stay after their
yeah.
own self-care, to stay after their own joy, to stay after. Morgan will tell you, she's always like, I'm telling you, she's got a whip. She's like, did you hydrate, Chaton? Like let me take a sip because I know you're going to be, hold on.
It's some water, baby.
I know
I'm
you.
always on her about drinking the water. I'm like, "Did you have enough today, honey? Come on. How many did you have? Go get some more."
It's it's so many things, and I'm so excited, and I'm so proud is such a small word for the way that I feel about what we're doing and for what you've done. So I want to let you guys know, first of all, um, make sure that you stay tuned. Our goal is to continue to drop an episode every Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern. That's our schedule. We're on YouTube right now, but we're going to be on other platforms. I just got to get us there. This was so important to get this all done. I look, those of you who are content creators understand I did crazy things to make this happen while Morgan has been out there delivering on the front. I've been in the back doing the background stuff, and the synergy in the partnership is crazy good. It's so good, And so for me, if someone were to ask me, um, my biggest regret is also my biggest joy. My biggest regret is that anything ever happened to you and your family. The biggest regret is that anything ever, any bruise that you have, any scar, internal or external. But my biggest joy is that because of that, I got to meet you.
Mm.
My biggest joy is that my family got to be extended. And so it's weird how there can be joy out of, you said the other day, calm out of chaos. And so in that chaos, in those triggering moments, this tremendous relationship and this podcast was born. So there is some joy in it. And I'm grateful. I'm super grateful.
I'm grateful that we have the opportunity to help other women. Like we're able to help each other, feed off of each other and to encourage each other and lift each other up. But I like what you said when you said to be able to have peace, some kind of
Yeah.
joy. The internal peace that you're able to receive when you work on yourself and take that time with the tapping or with the other coaching that we teach too, it will change your life because it changes your mindset. It
Yeah.
changes the way you think of things. It changes on how you respond to things and react to things. So yeah, I'm just glad that no matter what the circumstances are, that I have you and that we're able to do this together and to be able to empower so many other women. I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so listen, y'all, we about to be out. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you guys for popping in. And know that we'll be back. We'll be back with other information, for you about DV. But we're going to be getting into a lot of other things about how do you like what are the points of after. Morgan's done so much research so that we can bring you content that you want. So let's just say this: if you're like around the 38, and up, and you're like stuff's starting to happen to this, something's starting to happen to
Every
this, something starting to happen to this, something started happening here, them
right.
kids is driving you crazy, like stuff is happening. We are here for you, and we're going to be bringing some people on with us. We're going to be doing some interviews in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about the things that really impact you and how can you release the negativity, because that negativity, we know you're going to get through. We know you're going to keep moving, but how? And
Mm,
what's the result? Like when you're touching other people, how are you touching them?
mm,
How is it working for you? We want to make it work better. We want to help you make it better because there's nothing better than an empowered woman. Woo! Force to be reckoned with, right? All right, so
right.
I'm gonna just drop this again real quick. Make sure that you push this out to anyone that you know that could use this kind of content. If you like our rapport, don't be skimpy on the subscribe button, okay? And then
Mm.
also make sure that you jump on into our magazine. Next one will probably come out sometime in January, but for now the link is bit.ly/G2A MAG launch. And if you want to be a part of our workbook, you're like, I would like to learn tapping and I know I have these limiting beliefs. When I tell you, Morgan was like, we got to talk about limiting beliefs, then you want our workbook. It's bit.ly/G2A dash LB and the number one. And so they'll be in the description box below as well. Make sure you go ahead and grab those resources. And if you want to be a part of what we're doing in terms of tapping, you want to learn it, you want to see what that looks like, make sure that you get on our wait list. All you have to do is email us right now at tapping@gettingtoafter.com and you can get either one of us. And if you'd like to work with us individually as coaches for yourself, then we're open to that as well. We both have a little bit of space for individual one-on-one clients. Most we're going to be doing group, but we have a little bit of space for some one-on-ones. So if you're like, I need a coach that's going to walk me through some stuff that I'm going through, and you like my style, hey, I'm there. If you like Morgan's style, hey, she's there. And so you can get either one of us. And then with our groups, you'll get both of us.
Chatone, would you do me a favor and would you give them an example of some of the limiting beliefs that we might be able to help them work through?
Sure, absolutely. So one of the things that happens with us, I think, is that we get to a certain age and we believe that wherever we are is wherever we can go. So
Mhm.
for example, you may think, I can't get a new job. I can never get a promotion. It may be around how you feel about your body. The health that I have is all the health I'm going to have because, like, everyone in my family by the age of 40 is overweight. Everyone in my family by the age of 40 has diabetes. Everyone that I know in my family is extremely disorganized. I can never be on time because I've never been on time. And so I can't help but procrastinate because, I can't do things right away. We put limits on ourselves without even knowing we've done it. And you can actually feel all those things, and all of those things can be true. Because let's face it, we don't want to let facts get in the way of the truth. It could be facts that you're saying. Maybe you are always late. Maybe people in your family by 40 normally get diabetes. It's a fact. But the truth is, you don't have to,
Mm.
right? So we help you with, is that good? Is that what
That
you
girl, that
need?
was on point. Like,
Okay, okay. I'm telling you, I'm not scripted, right? So, but that's what limiting belief looks like.
mhm.
And we can help you work on those. And we all have them. I wish I could sit here and say, I don't have any more. That would be the biggest bold faced lie that I've ever told. But I just don't let it, I don't let it fester. I don't let it fester. In fact, I think our next episode, since we've done, I think it would be really good if we talked a little bit about chronic illness in our next episode.
I think that'd be really wise.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because
Because,
that's something you and I both struggle with. And especially like anybody, it doesn't matter what age you are, but especially when you hit, your early 40s, your body starts changing so much. So yeah.
yeah, I think we're going to talk about that and how you can kind of use EFT, but also what can you do with your mindset? It is a limiting belief. Now, I'm not saying that you're never going to get sick, but it's a limiting belief that you can hold that I can never feel better than I feel right now. Because better isn't always cured. I'm going to just leave that there. Better isn't always cure. Yeah, better's better. So let's talk about it next time. Let's talk about it next time. All right, we're out. We love you. Thank you for being a part of this series. We'll be coming on back with some more things here. We're going to talk about some lighter things in the next couple of weeks.
Sounds great. Can't
All
wait to
right.
hear
All
more.
right. Bye, everybody. Take care.